Let's go through Sofi stocks today. I'll definitely show you the volatility. We'll look at the volatility smile, historical volatility, and I'll also show you the options trading volume. As usual, we'll touch on 3D volatility. I'll show you my portfolio, what's happening with it, what actions I'm taking, and I'll also show you a table of what happened this week, what profit I made. But let's start from the beginning. Sofi didn't move anywhere this week. It continues to consolidate. In fact, we're closing at exactly the same level. Yes, we had a rise of almost $8 this week, but we rolled back, and I'll explain why we did that. Naturally, I'll rely on the open volume and options. There are huge walls, but we'll come back to that a little later exploratively. Sofi's report will be out in a week. I can assume that until the report will be in such consolidation. Let's look at the volatility. At the moment, the volatility is at 70%. We don't need to look at the green line because it's the volatility that ends today in 7 minutes. As we know, the closer the expiration date, the higher the gamma and the higher the volatility, so we don't pay attention to that. Let's look at the volatility smile. As we can see, in the direction of calls, options are on the rise. The volatility smile is not increasing, it's on a flat line. But in the direction of puts, towards the path of options, volatility is indeed increasing. If we look at closer options, expiring in April, we see that volatility there is increasing both in the direction of calls and puts. Let's look at historical and implied volatility. Historical volatility is represented by the gray line, implied volatility by the white line. We can see that these volatilities are absolutely at the same level. In fact, this is a completely standard situation. Such volatility you will often see. From this, it follows that it won't be possible to profit from volatility movements because it's already at its normal historical values. Let's look at the options trading volume. This is the most important chart at the moment. Not many people show this, but I always make sure to talk about it. As we can see, there is a very large volume of options open at the $8 and $7.5 levels. In terms of put options, this is at $7.5 as well as $7 and $8, and these huge walls, both in put and call options, are not easy to overcome. We can see this quite clearly on the chart. This week we rose to $8, and this huge wall prevented us from going further. Similarly, we have $7.5. Yes, at the moment we are dropping below, but again, we have a massive support wall. And I fully expect that next week we will be able to return above this level, or at least test it again. We also have a very large volume at the $7 level, also very significant support. But if we have seen these values, $7, $7.5, and $8, and as we can see, the price is bouncing off these levels, dropping to $7, then bouncing back to $7.5, dropping again to $7, then rising to $8. And we are in such consolidation. Breaking through, overcoming these levels is very difficult, and I think the report will help us. After the report, the price may either sharply rise or sharply fall. And then, of course, these levels will be broken through. And the situation may change after that. Most likely, we will have consolidation. Let's look at the 3D volatility. At the moment, it reflects all strikes, all open interest, all expirations, so we have volatility in all forms. Professionals will immediately understand what profit can be made here. Now let's see what's happening with the portfolio. Non-slick options, and the options on Sofi were open with a strike of $8.5. I moved them to a loss at $18 from one option. I had 3 options, the next one at $18. Multiply by 3, that's $54. In fact, the situation is not very pleasant because I only made $46 from this position. Therefore, it remains unprofitable for me for now. So I won't make anything from this position for now, but no big deal. This is trading, it happens. It will just close at a loss for me. We can see that almost all of my positions are currently closing at a profit. Of course, some positions will also be closing at a loss, but until they are closed, we'll just wait. But this week I have 3 options expiring at $7 each. As we can see, I have these positions in my portfolio, but they will expire, bringing me $37. My total profit on Sofi stock is already $250, and this is called effective position management. Let's summarize the week. Actually, nothing much happened. I'll update the table. Today is April 12th, 1024. Sofi closed at $7.32. I'll update our table, and the current result is as follows. As we can see, the blue line represents my strategy, and the red line represents Sofi's stock. My strategy continues to slowly generate profit regardless of the direction of Sofi's stock. Moving on to next week, my portfolio is up 0.7, while Sofi's stock is down 7.5. In a week, my portfolio is now up 1%, and Sofi's stock is down 8.5. So the gap has widened even further. Again, while stock is falling, my portfolio is still growing slightly. This is, of course, due to trading options with effective position management, which I strive to do and demonstrate to you clearly and comprehensively. For now, I'm not in a hurry to open new positions, and this is related to the upcoming report. I'm in a waiting mode, which is also a philosophy of mine. In other words, there's no need to rush. You'll always have the opportunity to earn. I always try to emphasize this point. If you're unsure about your position or the direction of the price, just wait. Don't open any positions as I do before the report. Let's look at the results. Let's analyze the results. Then we can build good, effective position management strategies. There's no need to rush. Let's go back to Sofi stocks. Again, I remind you of my philosophy. I don't know where the price will go. I can't predict price movements. My main task is effective position and portfolio management. I've shown you absolutely everything openly. You can watch my previous videos where I open positions, how I close positions, in more detail. I just don't know how else to explain. I think I've explained everything in as much detail as possible. If you want, if there's still something you don't understand, write in the comments what specifically you'd like me to show you. I just haven't seen more detailed instructions on how to make money. All the YouTubers I've watched just make baseless claims. They say, look, the stock is going here and there, and show you some fancy moving averages, some incomprehensible indicators. I show everything in practice. How I form positions, how I compose a portfolio even more openly. I just don't know what to show. I've shown absolutely all positions, the portfolio, how I form it in each video. Everything is as detailed as possible. Also, I remind you that when I get monetization on YouTube, I will open a new account, which I will fund with YouTube earnings, and there I will also invest in the most detailed way. From the very beginning, I will tell everything, how I buy stocks. It will be absolutely real. Everything. I will show you how I really form portfolios, what level of cash needs to be kept, what level of stocks, bonds. Everything will be as open as possible. I will record everything in tables. The information will be absolutely free. You can watch. But again, I do not advise anyone anything. Subscribe not to miss the beginning of a new experiment. Returning to stocks with news. I repeat, most likely in the coming weeks we will be on the horizon in this range before and after the report already. Also, last week I launched a vote on stocks. As we see, over the past week, mostly the votes were distributed in favor of the growth of the stocks up to $10. A fairly optimistic view. We will definitely summarize in 3 weeks. Also, I advise you to watch my previous videos on news stocks. There I also explain and show everything in maximum detail, how I form a position, how I open a portfolio. Good luck to everyone.